This tutorial is about the page tab. Now, in every ad, you will find that the ad is made up of pages. Now, you will find that you can navigate through the pages via the page tab. I am currently on page 2 of an expandable ad. Now, the moment I click on the page tab, it opens up the page dock. Now, I can see that my ad is distinguished as a banner page and an expandable page, and in between which you have the loading page. Now, the loading page is the page that appears when the banner page is clicked and the ad moves into a full screen mode. So while the expandable page is being loaded, the loading page is what is in view. Now, the tools that you have out here are, I can create a new page by going ahead and clicking on the add new page. So you can see that the new page has been created, which is page 3. I can also delete the page via the icon out here. So if I highlight, I can see that I have the icons showing up. So if I want to delete the new page that I just created, I can go ahead and just click on delete, and the page has been deleted. Now, this icon out here is to duplicate a page. So if I go ahead and duplicate the page, you can see that now it hasn't come up as page 3 because it's not a fresh page. It is a duplicate, so it is a copy of page 2, and the default name will show as copy of the page which has been duplicated. Now, just going and deleting this. Now I can navigate between pages by just clicking on the page. So now I am on the banner page. If I click on this, I'm on the expandable page. Now on the loading page, you can see that the elements panel, you have only 2 of the elements which can be used, because this is the loading page and you cannot make it really heavy. So I mean, it's best to customize the loading screen according to the brand. So maybe a background color with a minimal text and maybe the logo. So that's the reason why you'll find that most of the elements have been blurred out. Now going back to page 2. Now on the right, you'll also see that when page 2 is selected, I have the properties of page 2 as well. So you can see that by default the name is there. Now this is important, which is the orientation. Now by default it's always reload to fit, which means that if you make the ad via the reload to fit option, what will happen is that the ad will best fit in the available space while being rendered. That means no part of the ad will not be seen. Everything on the canvas will be visible. So the ad will try and fit itself in the best possible manner. Now the other option that you have is reload to fill. Now in reload to fill, what happens is that the ad will render with all the available width that's available. So what will happen is that there is a possibility that according to the height of the ad, there may be part of the ad which will be below the fold. So in this case, you would have some part of the ad which may render below the fold. And the last option is design for both. Now in this case, what happens is that you have 2 modes to design for. By default, you can see the moment I choose design for both, I'm just going back to reload to fill. Now I'm choosing you can see that just below orientation there's nothing, but the moment I choose design for both, you find a new data point which is called current view. So you know that the view that you're seeing right now is the portrait view. You can shift to the landscape view. Just going to close the page panel. So in this case, you are telling the ad that we will design for both the modes. So when the ad figures out there has been a change in orientation, it will then show the design as it has been built for each of the modes. Now this button out here, which is import, is available on both views. Now what it does is that, let's say I'm just going to pull in an element, which is the button, and if I go ahead to the page property and I shift to the landscape mode, now in this case, if I go ahead and import from portrait, what will happen is that all the elements that were there on the portrait mode will be carried forward to the landscape mode, and that includes all the actions and animations associated to the elements. So it is always a best practice to go ahead and create the entire portrait page and then go to the landscape mode and import from the portrait view. So in this case, all your elements from the portrait along with its actions and animations will be carried forward towards the landscape mode, and then all you need to do is tweak the landscape mode to best fit this view. Now the other thing related to page is that you can also set up actions based on the event, which is page load. So you can actually configure some actions to happen on the event, which is page load. So just going to add an action. So you have all these actions that are available on page load, so you can also go ahead and do that. So that's about the page tools.